And now for our second video of the week, we've got the classic Doflamingo. Now, Doflamingo has had a lot of success recently because of its very powerful interaction into the Whitebeard deck, as well as it's just a very powerful deck overall. Being able to just play all these cards from the top of your deck while making sure that your board is taken care of with your hand leads to situations where they can populate the board with really big bodies that eventually just give them so much tempo that the game goes in their favor. Not only that, but additions like Jinbei and the Gecko Moria, as well as the Centomaru package for some people, have made this deck kind of a sleeper. It's very, very powerful. So I go ahead and I play Dodon. Dodon's going to go ahead and get me, I think I whiff on it. No, I did reveal and add a Nami to my hand. So I didn't have a great start. He started Perona, and I had the Curly Dodon to answer that back, but then he goes ahead and swings for 7 and summons the Gecko Moria. Now, Gecko Moria, really, really strong card here. Now, I was kind of debating if I should just go ahead and swing at this Gecko Moria for 8, which I probably should have just swung for 8 on the Gecko Moria. Sometimes it's better that when you play against Doflamingo, just all in on the first card that they summon to really kind of slow them down on their tempo, and then go ahead and have developed maybe a Nami or a Chopper. Would have been a lot better at this point in time. So I go ahead and I swing 6. And the only thing I can do here really is just swing 6 again, right? So I'm going to go ahead and rip 2 cards out of his hand at this point in time, or remove the Gecko Moria while also developing a card of my own. So he does combo out of it using a Perona as well as a Martial D Teach. He's going to go ahead and put 2 Dawn on his leader, and he's probably going to swing at the Zoro trigger effect of the leader. And let's see what he comes out with now. He comes and summons the Boa Hancock. Now, Boa Hancock is a card that I have to destroy because of the fact that it just allows him to get so much value in this leader. He uses it offensively, defensively. It's just really, really good for him. So I think he's contemplating whether he wants to swing with the Gecko Moria, whether he wants to develop another card, whether he wants to lay up 2 Dawn. There's a lot to really be considered here from the Flamingo side. So let's see what he ends up choosing to do here. You know, in best case scenario for him, he'd be able to put 1 Dawn on the Moria, swing for 7, and develop like a Trafalgar Law. That would be really, really solid. So he goes ahead and swings for 7. Not going to defend the 7. I really just do need cards at this point in time because I'm going to have to deal with this very powerful board from the Flamingo side. And then by leaving 1 Dawn up, I now have to respect possibly a Desert Spada. So I put 1 Dawn on the leader, and this turn I have to make sure to clear the board, or at least deal with it as much as I physically can. So I'm going to go ahead and summon a Gordon, and this is why I think Gordon is so absolutely good in this deck. Gordon goes ahead and, you know, reduces the Gecko Moria and allows me to swing possibly over it here, 4 on a 3, which is going to bait the 2k. I really want to get the Desert Spada out of his hand because my next swing is going 6 at it. Oh, he lets it go. So I'm going to say, give me the Desert Spada here. Let's see if he chooses to do so. And if he doesn't, that's really, really good for me. And I can just develop like an absolute god. If I'm able to go ahead and KO this Boa here with this 6k swing, then we're in a really solid spot. And we just are. So then we're just going to go ahead and, I was going to go ahead and summon Zoro, swing for 7 on the Boa and make sure that it was out. But by it being KO'd, I'm just going to take my time here to just go ahead and summon some characters. So I'm going to deploy the Nico Robin, and this may have been a mistake. They're, you know, because now if he goes ahead and uses Flamingo effect and bounces the Robin, I kind of got a little slowed down there. It might have been better to just go Dodon, try to find a card, and then go ahead and summon a Chopper or the card that Dodon found. I do want to keep the Gordons in hand because at this point in time, Gordon is just going to be used as a surprise card. That's kind of the reason I really wanted to make sure that the Nico Robin came down onto the board. But we have to wait and see what the Flamingo has here. So he goes ahead and starts with Perona, which is a really bad news for us because he can go ahead and put whatever card that he desires towards the top of the deck. So he can summon it from his leader. So he's still stacking the top of the deck, and I think worst case scenario, it's a Jinbei that goes ahead and bounces the Nico Robin because that really puts us behind in terms of tempo. But we do have a lot of cards in hand, and we're amassing a lot of advantage. We also have the advantage generator in our hand with a double to Dawn, as well as the Uda to recycle our Nami once the Nami goes down. So I think we're in a pretty good spot to really grind this game out. What's going to put this grind to a stop really, really quickly is if he goes ahead and summons Mihawk on me. So I need to make sure to put enough pressure onto the board that he's afraid to Mihawk, because if he does Mihawk, I want him to think that he might be, you know, going down to 1 life or almost getting lethal immediately. So he goes ahead and swings 7, uses leader ability, summons the Jinbei, and then yeah, I'm gonna take this one too, man. I'm greedy. And then I'm thinking of jet pistoling this right now, which could have, and also, you know, probably wasn't the best of choices. So I opted not to go ahead and jet pistol this Jinbei. And then he goes ahead and swings with Perona. Now, Perona, he could have swung at lead. Had he swung at lead, I definitely combo that or counter out of that one. But swinging at the Dodon was pretty clever on his part. So I'm going to go ahead and attach one Don to my leader. Swing Nami at the Perona. That Perona is most definitely gone. And then I'm going to just put a lot of pressure onto the board. I'm going to probably just trade off my Nico here. Swing 6 at the Jinbei. Now, I go ahead and attach an extra Don, but that's a mistake on my part because even if he counters out and saves the Jinbei, then I could have swung with my leader and that would have been pretty fine. But he most definitely wants the Jinbei to get KO'd because then he can use it to bottom deck my Nico Robin, which is what he opts to do here. So I definitely minused one Don by mistake. Or, you know, I just hadn't thought about that that line. And then now it goes back to my turn. I have full control of the board. Now is my time to really flood the board and get the tempo back on my side. So I go ahead and summon the Don. The Don finds the best possible target in terms of Nami. And then I'm going to go and summon probably another Dodon. The Don's going to go ahead and find me a Mogra. So haven't whiffed just yet. And then I'm going to go ahead and probably play the Nami down. Just try to look for, you know, some sort of counter power. I opt to get the Gum Gum Red Hawk. Obviously, it's a non-countered card this turn, but it will be useful later. So I think I have more cards than him, and definitely I have more cards on the board, but what I don't have is more life than him. So I have to make sure that I have to play these next couple of turns very, very tight because I need to be as defensive as possible because if he goes Mihawk into Mihawk, we're going to have a really, really bad time. And there's always the probability that he goes and has the Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria can add back the Teach, and even though this Chopper is going to be useful as a defensive tool, he can go ahead and nullify that pretty easily in the Flamingo deck. So I have to put a lot of respect. And let's see what he opts to do here. Quite a long turn from the Flamingo player. I mean, there's a lot of options that he has to go ahead and consider. He goes ahead and puts 2 Don on the leader, reveals the Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria is going to go ahead and add him a 7 Warlords of his choice. Let's see what he opts to add back. He opts to add back the Jinbei itself, and he swings at the Nami, and I'm not defending that, certainly not. And then he goes ahead and most probably plays down the Jinbei. He hasn't seen a Dracool Mihawk, which is really good for us because that means there's very few 2Ks in his hand, and if we just, again, go close to the board, then we should be in a really solid spot. Now, I don't have a 9-drop Whitebeard to summon here, so we'll go ahead and see what's in our trash. We have a Zoro, a Nami, and a Curly, so we have a lot of really good options for Uda, but I don't think we're Udaing this turn, so we're going to go ahead and attach 1 Don to the leader, 2 Don to the leader, and we're going to go ahead and swing over this Gecko Moria. And we're just going to use this turn to really just push. We're going to have to put a lot of pressure on him on this specific turn. So the Gecko Moria goes down here, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach 1 Don, swing 5. I just want to go ahead and proc interaction because the way that he's shown me his hand is that he doesn't have a lot of 2Ks. He kept 2 up for maybe a Love Beam, so I'm just going to respect it and just go as low as possible. He gives me a 1K. I'm going to go ahead and maybe play a Mogra here. Mogra's going to go ahead and boost the Nami. We're going to make the Nami a 7K, so he has to give me the Love Beam here as opposed to later. I want it now. And he pitches, no, he gives me 2 cards instead. And then I see what he's doing, and I'm like, you know what? 7 again. I don't need to go ahead and make this Gum Gum Red Hawk active this turn. I just wanted to put as much possible pressure as I could so that he's really afraid. Because let's say he goes ahead and plays a Mihawk here and he bottom decks my Zoro. He's not going to clear my entire board, and I'm going to have 3 characters that are just going to be able to swing right back at him without any single problem. So he goes 5 at Curly Dodon. He goes 5 at my Curly Dodon, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is a Mihawk turn for sure. So what I'm going to do on this turn is basically exactly what I was explaining I would do. If he Mihawks me and removes my Zoro, well, that's perfectly fine because then I'll just Uda summon back the Curly summon, you know, get a card, play Nami. Nami's going to go ahead and grab me something and go from there, right? So he goes ahead and plays a Teach. Teach is going to go ahead and bounce back my Mogra, which is dangerous for him as that is a defensive tool. And then it goes back to my turn. I go ahead and I have a Nami that I top deck. Now Nami isn't going to do much here because I don't need her to summon right here. So I go ahead and pistol. I'm going to add 1 Dawn to my leader. It seems like he's really low on resources in general, and he's fully tapped out. So I'm going to go ahead and Magra the Nami. I could put a Dawn on her, but I don't think I necessarily have to. I think 6 would be just enough, but I opt to go 7. 7 he's most definitely going to take. I'm going to swing 6. He takes, and then will he take this 6? And I think he just kind of like took it as a way to concede, but that's definitely the end of the game. So what we can take away from that game is we've got to do our best to keep the board in our favor. Now, that's not always possible, but we can try as much as possible. Obviously, cycling cards like Curly Dawn and Namis are really, really important, while also using our very powerful cards like Nico Robin and Zoro to try to make them swing at our board as we deal with theirs. Now, we can't always mulligan for cards specific, but mulliganing for Jet Pistols, Curly Dons, Namis, as well as Whitebeards are going to be the cards that you're really searching for in this matchup, because even though I didn't summon a Whitebeard, had I done so, it would have been catastrophic for the Flamingo player. And the main point is you want to go ahead and attack their characters so that they dwindle their hand, and over the course of 2 to 3 turns, once they have very little hand size, we end the game by swinging at their leader. So hopefully that helps you guys with the Doflamingo matchup. If you guys like this sort of content, make sure to leave a like. Go ahead and talk to me in the comment section. As always, guys, if you haven't joined the Pirate Crew and are considering joining, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.